The babysitter, Emma, arrived at the house, a grand old mansion on the outskirts of town. She had been told that the children she would be watching, twin siblings, were well behaved, and that the parents would be back late. But as soon as she stepped inside, she knew something was off. The house was dark and cold, and there was a strange smell in the air. The children, a brother and sister, were quiet and withdrawn. They didn't seem to want to talk or play, and they avoided her gaze. "Hello, my name is Emma. I'm your babysitter for tonight," Emma said, trying to break the ice with the children. The boy, who was called Timmy, looked up at her with cold eyes. "We don't need a babysitter, we're not babies," he said. His sister, Sally, didn't say anything, she just looked at Emma with a blank expression. Emma felt a chill run down her spine, but she tried to ignore it. "Well, your parents asked me to be here, so I'll just make sure everything is okay while they're out," Emma said, trying to sound cheerful. The children didn't respond, they just went to their room and closed the door. Emma shrugged it off, thinking they were just shy. She decided to take a tour of the house to familiarize herself with it. The house was grand, but it had an eerie feeling to it. As she walked through the rooms, she heard strange noises coming from the walls, and the floorboards creaked as if someone was walking on them. She tried to ignore it, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As Emma was about to head back to the living room, she heard a faint noise coming from the basement. She hesitated for a moment but then decided to investigate. She opened the door to the basement and turned on the light. As she walked down the stairs, she felt a cold breeze, and she heard a whispering sound, like a voice in the wind. She reached the bottom of the stairs and looked around, but she saw nothing out of the ordinary. She was about to head back upstairs when she noticed a door in the corner of the room. She walked towards it and tried to open it, but it was locked. "What's in there?" Emma said to herself. She shook the door, but it wouldn't budge. She was about to give up when she heard a faint noise coming from inside. It sounded like a child's voice. Emma's heart raced. She knew she had to get in there. She looked around for something to break the lock, but she found nothing. She was about to give up when she heard a key rattling in the lock. The door opened, and Emma saw a small room. Inside, she saw the twins, Timmy and Sally. They were sitting on the floor, playing with dolls. "What are you two doing in here?" Emma said, relieved to see them. The Sally stood up and walked towards Emma. Her eyes were black and her face was twisted in a grotesque expression. "You should have never come here, Emma," she said. Her voice was no longer that of a child. Emma was frozen in terror. She couldn't move or speak. She realized that the children were not the innocent children she had thought they were. They were possessed by dark and evil spirits that had taken over their bodies. The spirits had been using the children to lure unsuspecting babysitters to the house, where they would be trapped and consumed by the spirits. Emma knew she had to get out of the house before it was too late. She turned around and ran up the stairs as fast as she could, but she could hear the spirits chasing her, their screams and laughter echoing in her ears. She reached the living room and ran towards the front door, but it was locked. She banged on the door, but it wouldn't open. She could hear the spirits getting closer. She knew she had to find another way out. She ran to the kitchen and saw a window. She knew it was her only chance. She opened the window and climbed out. She could hear the spirits behind her, their screams getting louder and louder. She ran as fast as she could. She didn't stop until she reached her car. She got in, locked the doors and drove away as fast as she could. She never spoke of her experience again, but the memory of the possessed children and the house with a dark and twisted past would haunt her forever. She would never babysit again. She was too scared to ever go back to that house. The house remained unoccupied and abandoned. It was said that strange noises and screams could be heard coming from the house at night. It was said that the spirits of the children still lingered in the house, waiting for their next victims.
leave a like, and subscribe for more scary stories.